Hello to everybody. Samantha and I have just decided to record tonight, um, basically because the former Prince Andrew Mountbatten, has been arrested and released today. So we're going to start with what he's potentially being charged with and the potential severity of that, and we're then just going to unpack it. So he is the first senior member of the modern royal family to be arrested. The offence he was arrested to in relation to misconduct in public office. It is a serious common law crime, triable by jury, with a maximum sentence of life imprisonment.
So that is quite compelling to start off with. But let's unpack a few words here so that we can actually get an idea of what that might mean in real terms. Because obviously everyone's going to be wanting to relate this directly to the Epstein files, potentially Virginia Giuffre, and all that kind of thing. But actually, there's a lot of consensus that it's nothing to do with that. So let's try, in as much as we can, bearing in mind we're just lay people and we've just dug a little bit and
Oh yeah,
discovered what we can.
but we are YouTube certified, self-certified.
YouTube certified lay people and Google too. But anyway, I did search up the term of what it means to be arrested or to be for misconduct of public office. And so this is what it came up with. So the use of their office to obtain a benefit for themselves or somebody else, or to cause somebody else to suffer a detriment. So an example of this is fraud, harassment, bullying, violence, serious insubordination. We'll come back to serious insubordination another time because I think that's very vague. And the lesser offences, this made me smile because I'm like, I don't know how these are lesser offences, but the lesser offences include dishonesty, i.e., faking expenses, which is half of the British cabinet at least.
Allegedly.
Misuse, allegedly, misuse of company property, again allegedly. Um, Deliberate policy violations, again,
Allegedly.
and chronic poor performance. Sakia Sama. Anyway,
Allegedly.
allegedly, and the rest. So it's all very vague.
It
It
is.
literally could, to an extent, mean anything.
Well, because you and I have been back and forwards most of the afternoon trying to find out actually what is in these files that he's done. And the best that I could find out is that the files allude to something the police were already potentially investigating. And it's very cloak and dagger. It is very Chinese whispers. But everybody says, every source says the same. And it doesn't matter whether I use Venice, ChatGPT, Google, YouTube, it doesn't matter. Everyone is saying the same. There is nothing in the Epstein files currently that connect him to trafficking. And to be clear, yes, there's lots of pictures, but all of the emails seem to indicate correspondence about business and deals and contracts. It doesn't seem to be what everyone is talking about because everyone is basically saying allegedly that he had uh, underage sex, he trafficked women, knew about it, was aware about it, was involved in it. But actually, unlike say Deepak Chopra, who I like girls really young, right? There's none of that from Andrew.
He's really specifically.
Yeah, yeah. There, there's
Gosh.
there's none of that from Andrew. One of the things was he there's information that he was given when he was British envoy for trade, and he handed that information to Jeffrey Epstein. Again, the difficulty of that is there is some confusion around kind of what Jeffrey Epstein did in on kind of when wearing all of his hats. Because he was a
Yeah.
financer of business deals. He was a connector of he connected people kind of in exchange for commission. I know somebody that will invest and you're going to pay me 10% because I'll get you the money that you want. So
Yeah.
not everything was sexual, not everything was trafficking. And that's what makes this kind of complex web of people who are saying, well, you're in the Epstein files. And people's like, I never knew him like that. As you know, I have a friend that is an antique dealer who knew Jeffrey and Gazelle, and he's pictured with them. And like, and trust me, he's no, he's no shining knight in armor. He's just like, I didn't know him like that. And you can tell there's a part of him who's like, bastards. They never invited me to a party. And, but he was in those circles. The rich and famous buy antiques. He was an antique dealer, and
Yeah.
so what Andrew's actually been charged with is
Well,
almost a
at
huge
the moment, he
disappointment.
hasn't because he's been released. So I looked into this a little bit more, and he has been released. So far, so he was arrested at Sandringham, I believe, where that's where the initial raid is being conducted. There's still that's been concluded, so they're finished with that. They're now moving on to Windsor Estate. So the Windsor Estate is the next place that they've got warrants for that they're raiding or the police are raiding. And to be clear, this is Thames Valley Police as opposed to the CPS. So the Crown Prosecution Service, as of the moment, are not involved, or I should say, not formally involved, as the wording was when I looked it up.
So yeah, so the police, the CPS can't be involved until a
Until there's
charge
a
is
case,
made.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
So he
standard.
so he was arrested by Thames Valley Police. So he was still in Windsor when he was arrested then. Outside,
No,
I
I think
thought
he
he
was on
was.
Sandringham Estate because that was the information that I got. Literally, I just wrote the notes down from what I saw today. It says the investigation continues at Windsor Castle, but the Sandringham Estate raid was concluded. And I'm assuming it was the
Oh yeah,
Sandringham
sorry, yeah,
Estate that he
yeah. No,
was,
you're right.
yeah,
Shortly after 8 a.m. on Thursday, when a small fleet of unmarked police cars drew up at Wood Farm on the King's private Sandringham estate in Norfolk. My
yeah.
apologies.
So,
Um, yeah. So, and it's I find it interesting. Like I said, I heard a rumor which I couldn't substantiate this afternoon, which I spoke to you about, that somebody had suggested that Andrew had already been willing to voluntarily go to a police station to talk, but nobody can confirm that that is even a thing. And
no,
but I'm
um,
interested in. I don't know the logistics or the legalities of how you turn up at a private, the Sandringham estate, to the king's private farm and arrest his brother. It's because it's not
well,
as
they'll have had a warrant, and there is a statement from the king saying he's supporting the police in their investigations. I mean, take that with a pinch of salt if you like, but that's what was written.
but I get the impression that the king didn't know until the warrant was issued.
See that I have no idea,
No, no,
no
no.
idea.
That's the thing. Nobody does, and it's actually the question I want to know. Or I want
So,
answered. That
viewers, do you know? Let us know in the
yeah.
comments.
If anyone's got King Charles's number, could just
This
send
is
them a
your
little text.
YouTube PhD going down the drain now. You know, you're letting the side down.
Wow. And it's because I genuinely believed that if they had got a heads up, Andrew would have fled the country. But I think you're more of the opinion that he's too naive to do that, or too
So
narcissistic to think that he can be
no,
touched.
this is interesting because a couple of years ago, the good man H.G. Tudor, the psychopathic narcissist with a huge YouTube channel that talks about nothing but psychopathy and narcissism, does fantastic breakdowns of public figures and tells us what they are. He did a great one of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. So he concluded, obviously, Amber Heard is a narcissist. Can't remember what type of narcissist he said. He said Johnny Depp is a normal, but with high narcissistic traits. So we all have narcissistic traits. Some are higher than others. Johnny Depp's are quite high, but doesn't quite, go over to MPD. He's covered Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, both narcissists. Jada Pinkett Smith, sadistic narcissist. Actually, I got that from Deception Detective as well. That was confirmed there. So it's quite interesting that these people. Oh, he's also got a thing for Meghan Markle as a HG
He
tutor. So
loves
if
a
you
bit
are
of Meghan
interested in Meghan
Markle.
Markle, honestly, he's the place to go. So fill your boots, go see HG Tudor. Shout out for
And
him
what was the
because
one he did
some
the
of
other
the
day on
videos he does.
Erica Kirk lesbian?
Yeah, just watch that one as well. Let's come back to that before we get sidetracked because we are
Yes.
very good at getting sidetracked. But yeah, so the one that he did on Andrew, he concluded that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, or formerly known as Prince, or as David likes to call him, Prince Nonce,
Wrong'un.
Wrongen,
Allegedly.
allegedly. Yeah, he's called an up. Well, let me have a look because I did make the notes here.
So I was just pulling
Um,
them up.
Upper lesser type A is how H.G. Tudor describes him as a narcissist. So there's all sorts of schools and cadres of narcissists that H.G. Tudor puts these things into. And as I'm literally quite quite in depth studying um the work of Hervey Cleckley, George K. Simon, and Robert Hare at the moment, who are three renowned psychologists in criminal psychology, specializing in psychopathy and narcissism. I can kind of attest that them cadres do line up somewhere very, very well. And that is very, very interesting. But I was listening to a video over my lunch break today of HG Tudor describing what an upper lesser type A narcissist was, with an idea of trying to potentially predict where Prince Andrew might go now that this has happened, what he might do, how he might respond. So you can play a game with us, viewers. When I read out some of the descriptive terms of what this type of narcissist is, let's see if you
Can I
agree. Go on,
interject something from your notes? Because I think
go on.
this is an important piece of foundation that people might not understand because of the complexity of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. So, although Andrew the Wrong'un has been discredited and had his titles, royal titles, removed, he's still eighth in line to the
Yeah.
throne. And the thing that makes this difficult is it takes an act of parliament to remove his succession to the throne. But it also requires the support of the Commonwealth countries that have current UK monarchs as their head of state. So this is actually an international issue because,
On top of that, though, it requires their involvement as in their decision, but it also affects their downlines as well. So their monarch,
yes, this is
their
what people
kind of
don't understand
institutions.
is that
So it's huge.
if
The
he's,
impact is
yeah,
so
it's not as
complex.
simple as removing his titles is one thing, but if you remove his right of succession, that impacts his children and it impacts
So
their children.
let me read the countries in the Commonwealth that this actually impacts. Because I
Yeah,
did
please
make the
do.
list because I'm a bit geeky like this, as you
No,
know.
but it's good because this is the thing that makes it complex is people don't understand why people like we don't know why we do anything about him. Well, this is
Yeah.
why the royal family or how the royal family is so protected.
Yes. So the Commonwealth countries that recognise the king as their head of state currently are Antigua and Barbuda, Australia, the Bahamas, Belize, Canada, Grenada, Jamaica, New Zealand, including the realm of New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Solomon Islands, Tuvalu, and the UK.
Yeah,
So you can see already just how complicated that gets.
it is, and you need some
It's
level of
huge.
agreement from all of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not just that is you not only do you need some level of agreement from all of them, it has to come without backlash. And by that, what we mean is,
Can't have a revolution against the crown.
yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
with that comes trade deals, etc. There are advantages because if you remember the Commonwealth, it gives you political and trade advantages that if you're a small island or a small population economically, could actually have a detrimental effect
Yeah.
because there's countries that we're connected to that are outside of the Commonwealth. They're not classed as the Commonwealth, as you just mentioned,
Yeah.
but they could be part of the United Kingdom. The Commonwealth is a separate thing to the United Kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So the United Kingdom is England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Jersey, Isle of Man. It'll be which Scottish islands are up there as well. I think there are some
Let me
independent
look that.
Scottish islands.
Hmm.
Um, I'm thinking around the Hebrides somewhere, but I might not. My geography up there is pretty lame, to be fair. So I won't pretend to know. I might just be being a bit dumb or trying to be clever
What
and
is
not
the
being clever at all.
United? Let me just. It's made up of mainland England, Wales, Scotland, and northern part of Northern Ireland,
Oh, sorry,
and
Northern Ireland. Yeah, yeah.
numerous smaller islands. Well, that's handy when your phone freezes.
Well, there'll be Jersey and Isle of Man. They've got to be a given
So
because I think
great,
they're
yeah.
part of
So this is the thing that people
England.
don't often understand. Great Britain and the United Kingdom are not the same. Great Britain is the island containing England, Scotland, and Wales, while the United Kingdom is a sovereign country that includes all of Great Britain plus Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
The UK's full name is United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, making it a political entity encompassing the island of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
And is it not the Republic of Northern Ireland as well? Because I don't think they come under the head of state in the same way that England, Scotland, and Wales do. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it was the Republic in, or
it's
is it
not a
just Southern
republic.
Ireland that's just Republic of Ireland?
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
Republic of
yeah,
Ireland.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, you would know that
country.
being, part Southern Irish yourself.
This is it because I'm from Ireland, and well, my mum is from Ireland, sorry, but I have dual nationality. I have British and Irish passports, and so yeah, so this is what makes it complicated with Andrew the Wrong is that you can't just actually remove his succession from the throne, which again I'm wondering why. I'm struggling to believe they actually arrested him and in the public manner that they did it, because I would have thought had to be signed off by the Prime Minister instead of we're going to discreetly, at the King's discretion, take him to a police station.
Ironically, it was stated in one of the comments on HG Tudor's video from this morning, as one of the commenters put, Sakia Starmer did say that nobody is above the law. Now, let's ignore the hypocrisy in that comment
Yeah,
coming from Sakia Starmer, but if nobody is above the law, so what are they doing? Is it a deflection? Is it trying to placate
I
people,
think
thinking
it's
that
that
people are being arrested in connection to the Epstein file so it can deflect attention from everywhere else? Because everything is literally all over at the moment. You've got everyone from Stephen Hawking to Deepak Chopra, you know, literally named in these files, which is becoming a bit of a mess to try and
I
sort out
think
who's who and
this.
what's what and in what
I think for
capacity.
the UK, this is deflecting from Rupert Lowe's ongoing investigation into the rape gang
Oh, of
crimes.
course, there's that one as well with that
So that's
recent.
going on at the
Yeah.
moment, and nobody is covering what's actually happening in the UK.
With
And
Lord Mandelson.
Lord Mandelson is getting a lot of flack. But
I know,
if
but
you if
this is good to take the light off him.
but what I mean is if you look at how much nobody can actually find any emails or letters linking Andrew to what's going on, and we have a privately funded national inquiry that where literally the evidence is being given that thousands of girls were being raped and are still being raped, and that the police not only are involved but are covering it up.
Mm.
Now, the inquiry hasn't concluded, so what evidence is being presented hasn't been confirmed or agreed as yet, so to speak. The British media are not covering anything, and currently are just obsessed that anybody that has anything to do with that inquiry is only doing it because they're racist. And yet you have Andrew, who has been arrested on the grounds of misconduct in a formal role, in a public role. It's just like,
Pretty
yeah.
disgraceful. It's
And
pretty disgraceful. Whichever way you look at it,
yeah. And
it's
so
just all
I think it's
disgraceful.
very useful that these Epstein files are coming out and that the British media is putting so much attention on that and not how successive governments have covered up the rape gang inquiries in the UK.
Yeah, so if you are an American viewer, just I don't know if you understand how much there is this problem in the UK of trafficked girls, teenagers. I don't know about boys, um, but through certain ethnic based gangs. Again, I'm being careful here not to come across as
Yeah.
racist because I'm definitely not, but it does tend to stick within a certain race, for want of a better expression.
There's a race
People,
and demographic
um,
that are accused
yeah, yeah,
of these
yeah.
rape gangs.
But we're not we don't want to target the whole demographic of people of that race because it's not
Yeah,
all of them. It's unfortunate. It's like the usual. It's a minority spoil it for a majority.
yeah. So I I I'm wondering what the misdirection is more than what Andrew has done. However, Keir Starmer is a well-known anti-royalist. So if he could bring down the monarchy, he'd consider that a fantastic thing. But again, I'm still confused to some degree how the king didn't know it was happening, because that's very much a step outside of normal protocol. Um, so I've got to think they've got something serious on him, and they're just making sure they cross their T's and dot their I's before anything publicly is announced. He's got to have fucked up massively,
Either that or he's becoming a willing scapegoat
possibly.
for other things, not related to the Epstein file, for other things, so they can keep his cover from his relationship to the Epstein files in the way that he's already vehemently denied in interviews like with Emily Maitlis, etc., etc.
I think also though there is also the opportunity for the police, um, that if as long as you've got the arrest warrant and the general suspicion of we need, misconduct in a public office. We've now arrested him. We can now search all of his laptops and all of his communications. At that point, it'd be, I wonder what else we can find on him. So it doesn't matter in a week's time if the charges, if they say, actually, we're dropping all those charges because there's no evidence. But while we were looking for evidence, we found evidence of this. You're allowed to do that. There's no problem with that. So it could just be that we have enough to get him on this, but actually we're after him for something else.
Normal tactic for the British police.
There's the same tactic for every police anywhere. Is,
Mm.
if you know somebody, if you strongly suspect somebody has done something and they don't have, you know, and you don't have the evidence, but you have a good idea where the evidence might be. Um, I know we're not supposed to go off on tangents, right? But I seen a clip today with a young guy in America. He literally shoulder barged a copper as he walked past him, right? And the copper was like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" And he was like, "Oh man, no, 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 get stuff." And the copper, "Whoa, whoa, no, stop! You've just assaulted me." Of course, at that point, the copper then is legally allowed to arrest him
Yeah.
and touch him.